hold your picture in my hand. The faded Polaroid sits proudly in my grasp. Its plain old little frame has aged far past the age that it would be replaced. But there are no picture frames in space. I saw the most beautiful sight. I came up to Saturn's rings and flew right on by the side. I don't want to sound too saccharine, but I couldn't help but be reminded of your eyes. You know I always try. When each star looks just like the next, it all just feels so blue. All these light years that I travel, I still travel without you. Galaxies all around me, they all glitter with a passion. They say, hold on boy, one day you'll be back home. I lay surrounded in black sky, lost for all eternity, but time still moves on by. The brilliant comet's tails are still so gallantly bright, I could cry. There's no place to wipe my eyes. The vessel I reside in isn't fixed. These walls I swore were parallel now skew aside like this. But perhaps I might be seeing things. I've been alone so long I can't be sure. You would tell me what's wrong. When each star looks just like the next, it all just feels so blue. All these light years that I travel, I still travel without you. Galaxies all around me, they all glitter with a passion. They say, hold on boy, one day you'll be back home.
Hello? Is anyone here? Hello? Hello, hello? How we all doing? Hope we're doing good. Hello. I really should have figured out my setup. I'm like, where do I put chat? Bark, bark. I'm talking to chat. I'm not talking to you.
What if you did talk to me?
No!
What if just talk together? Easier.
I had to get my headphones because Matic is being disgusting.
Madoka. Madoka, why are you being nasty? Nice. Hello. Hello, Cypress, Kairos, Oyasumi. Hello, hello. Alright, if you're new here, this is the critique stream. We do it monthly. And we critique everything. Today it'll just be me critiquing artwork. No one submitted anything with like specific writing questions for Bones. But you are definitely able to submit writing, you can submit artwork, you could submit character designs, comic pages, pieces of novels, short stories, comic scripts. We take it all. And if you sign up on our Patreon or through YouTube membership at a specific tier, you can get your stuff critiqued. Yay. Alright, there's the pitch. Also, if you're watching this, please consider liking the stream. That would help us out a lot. Hi, Artist Lee. Hello, hello. Who would like to go first? We have Cypress, we have Kuroe, we have Tori, Artist Lee, Mouse, Kairos. I don't think Battlebox... Let's see, did they reply? No. So Battlebox, if you see this, I'll also message you on Discord. But if you see this, I can send you a message because you submitted your thing on time. It's my fault that I can't show it on screen and cover it right now. I can go whenever. Is there anyone who would like to go first? Anybody? If not, I may just go with Cypress because I see your name. I'll probably go last, just because long. That's fair. That's valid. Okay, Cypress, let's go. So you have one submission and then a secret submission. Do you want me to look at the secret one first? It's not super secret, it's just I'm not gonna show it on stream. Cause it is spoilers for a thing. Okay. Yeah, secrets. Super secrets. Okay. Okay, so her name is Ilta. She's the goddess of hearth and home. Very cool. And I have seen a thing. I have seen a similar thing before. You can do the secret one first? Okay, cool. Okay. So one critique I'd like is her face. Okay, so she has like a pure black face, and then the eyes and mouth glow. Wasn't sure if I wanted her to be pitch black with no line art or very dark, like what I have here. Okay, I couldn't decide. Okay, and you're waiting to hear opinion. Other comments I'd like to hear are adding more detail, question mark. Whether I should, and if I should, where. I want her to be more godlike, but I'm not sure how, if that makes sense. Okay. Right, she's got a lot going on in her other design. And this one maybe feels more plain to you? Okay. Let me see. Let me see. So... hold on, I'm gonna hide my screen just in case I accidentally open it. Nope, I didn't. Okay. Let me see. Oh, Yasami's exploding? Oh no. We'll miss you. Okay, I see. So yeah, it's very dark, and then you've got slightly lighter line art on the face to show like the details on the ears and the face. And it looks like the appendages have the dark gradient on them. Okay. So first off, I really like the design. It's very cool. It does feel very otherworldly. Oh, and I like how in the shine of the eye, I like how you've got it. It's very like bright with the sclera and the pupil. And then the iris is like slightly lighter. That's cool. That does make it very like glowy. So, sorry, just so I understand, your options were to just make everything dark except for the glow, or to do what you have here and have like the line art. Gotcha. Okay, so it's inspired by something that had no line art. Gotcha. Yeah, because I think if you were to go with like no line art, you'd obviously like draw it out and then just remove the line art so that everything would be placed where it needs to be. I think they both work, because looking at the design from a distance, you don't see the line art, like, at all. You just see the glow from the eyes, and then I guess if the mouth's open, you see it from the mouth. Whereas, like, when you get close, you can see the detail of the line work. So that is an interesting idea, where you could push it and make the line art a bit lighter to make it more visible from far away. I guess it just depends on which one you decide. And I know you like came here to ask me like my opinion. What do I think? I think if you go, okay, here's my opinion. If you keep the line art, I think it makes them more friendly looking. It's a bit more personable. Whereas like without the line work, it's a lot more mysterious. And I think it makes them look a lot more like serious and otherworldly. Like very hard to read, kind of ominous looking. Whereas I think if you keep the line art, like it still feels ominous, but it's softened up a lot. It's a lot more friendly looking. So I think that just depends on the vibe of the character. Like if you want them really mysterious and kind of spooky looking, I think go without line art. And I think if you want to keep them more friendly and approachable, keep the line art. That would be my advice. Want her to look mysterious, but she is a good character. Gotcha. The thing is, too, I think if you go without the line art, you can get kind of like... It depends on how the characters, like, interact and how they're drawn. Because you can have, like, say, like, No Face from Spirited Away, who's, like, a creepy character, but is also kind of endearing. So that just kind of, like, it's not the same, but just having that very, like, still face. Or a very mysterious face. I think you can still make them friendly. But I think completely hiding the facial features makes, like... I think it also changes the kind of, like, friendliness or endearingness, because, like... I mean, admittedly, your opinion of No Face changes because of how he behaves in the story, but I think having, like, a kind of featureless face, and in this case with Ilta, with just showing the eyes, I think it creates, like... It can be disarming, because so say if, like, you have this character who has, like, the really hidden features and they look really spooky, and then they do something that's, like, kind of cute or nice, it kind of, like, disarms the reader, I guess. Part of the campaign is going to be them searching for this goddess. Gotcha. Yeah, so I think it's just how you want to characterize them. Like, is the idea they show up, they're scary, and then they're friendly and everyone's like, oh, okay, they're actually kind of cute. Or do you want it to be from the start? They're like, we found her. She's nice. I think that's the decision you gotta make. So they won't see her for a long while. They hear all these good things about her, and then they meet her and plot stuff happens. Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah, so I think yeah, it depends on how you want to characterize her. It's like in that moment of meeting her, they're like, okay, we know she's really good, but she's scary looking. Or they meet her and it's like, oh, it's this nice person that we know is nice, and then plot stuff happens. I think regardless, she does have a very, like, otherworldly feel to her with the design choices you've made. I also really like the gradient on her hair. I like how it, like she's got, like, kind of an ombre kind of going, where it's, like, lighter at the bottom and darker at the top. It's nice. It creates kind of, like, a smoky feel. Which I guess works, because if she's like the goddess of the hearth, there's kind of this like fire idea. Yeah, okay, I'm glad that's helpful. I'm glad I'm not just like, I don't know. You figure it out. Yeah. Right, but her hair has like a very smoky feel. It's very interesting. Yeah, totally, where it feels like her around her face is like all burnt and then there's like smoke coming off it is kind of the vibe. And then I like the warmer colors that are used on the costume. Hard to tell on a solid background. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think you portrayed it well. So the other thing you were worried about is like the detailing. I think. Is that correct? Yeah, the detailing. Right, so she does have a simple kind of outfit. She does look like if she had very like typical coloring, I think. Because she does look otherworldly and stuff, right? Because of the with her smoky hair and her shadowed face, like she looks very otherworldly. Whereas like if she was just like looked like a typical person, I think her clothing would come across as just very typical. But I think it's interesting. I mean, if she's supposed to be this goddess who like goes around like walking among humans and doing nice things for them and stuff, like I don't think there's anything wrong with giving her very like normal looking clothes. But there, you know, if you wanted to have a more kind of supernatural look, there's things you could add, like, what could you add? I don't know, you could do some cool, like, smoke or like, smoldering effects or something, like the clothing is burning or something. Anyways, I like the detailing on the little, it's not an apron, but the little like front piece. I really like the detailing on it with the little outline and then the symbols. I think they work really well. And I do like the use of the gold on the belt and the little pins that keep the shawl on. And they match really well to like the skin tone. They contrast really nicely against the red of the clothing. And it works for this kind of like smoldering fire kind of vibe. I think some more of the gold is needed in the lower half of the design. You could probably, especially if you're looking to add more detail, you could put kind of similar like embroidery or patterning that's on like the little front piece of the dress. You could put that on like the darker red pieces. Whether that's like the square kind of embroidery around the hem, or if you want to put in some of the like flame triangle symbols throughout, I think that could bring it into, because you've got with the shawl and the underskirt, like the white skirt, those match really well. You've got kind of the red throughout it. I do like how the fur colors and skin tones, they work. Yeah, it's just missing the gold in the lower half of the character. You could also do something like adding jewelry to the feet. To bring in like that pop of gold. And contrast-wise, everything looks good, I think. I do... Yeah, you'll have to see how it looks, but I do like how the shawl and the, say, like the gold from the belt creates this kind of like warmth at the center of the character. It's neat. I think it's a cool effect. I forgot critique stream starts earlier in the day. Yeah, we're super early. Yeah. Yeah, and I think more things to make her feel very godlike. I think in like the, because there's another design that's like for plot reasons where it like they feel very glorious, I guess. Like everything is very big and impressive. Where like you could, I don't know. I think it depends on how she's characterized. Because, like, if she's... I keep thinking, like, maybe, like, giving her, like, a weapon or, like, a scepter or, like, a big, cool thing that, like, a god would have. I don't know, like a godly weapon. A god-tier weapon. Something like that. But it depends. Because if she's characterized as, like, maybe, like, a very humble traveler, like, she probably wouldn't want to be very flashy. Whereas, like... if she's like supposed to be more impressive, you could add in some accessories that kind of make her feel bigger, because she does feel very like just like a simple kind of traveler. Yeah, something to use. Adding more like jewelry could also help with making her feel more. She's a hermit. She stays in one place. Even though she's the most welcoming goddess in recent times, she has cut contact with mortals. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think if that's her characterization, like, she might not need to be flashy, because I was thinking, like, you know, if you have a god or goddess who's being, like, worshipped, they might have, like, jewelry and things that make them look like impressive rulers, or, like, things that have been given to them, like, through worship. But if she keeps to herself, I could see her, like, dressing very simply. I also think if you wanted to add more detail in, you could do some, like, kind of line art details on the belt. There's, like, a very large piece of it on the left side, so maybe just doing some little etching on it or something might help. You could do more of the flame symbols, or bring in more of, like, because there's a bit of a circle motif with, like, the clips from her shawl, as well as some, like, rounded shapes in the flame symbols and stuff. Maybe bringing that into the belt would work. So then all of the gold has, like, kind of a round vibe to it. Because then you'd have the gold coming from the eyes and the clasps. And then through the belt, and then whatever you do on the lower part of the character. But yeah, did you have any other questions about that? Is there anything I missed with this character that you're still focused on? So I can move on to your second one, which is what we've been showing on screen. So this one's not secret. So the second half of my critique, this is Doris, the goddess of fate, an NPC in the same campaign. Okay, but there's no spoilers. Okay, so this is a sketch with some color ideas. I'm still futzing with her, yes. So she's Harpy. No, I think that's good for now. I'll work on her and have you look at the next version. Heck yeah. Awesome. I hope I was helpful with that one. Okay. So Doris is a harpy based on a barn owl. Eventually she's gonna be more robotic, but have wood, plants, and metal. Oh, that's cool. I'd like to hear thoughts on overall design and what to maybe move or tweak. I'd also like a read on her personality. Okay. I'll do a little vibe check before I read on. She's really cool. I definitely get like god vibes, goddess vibes, especially with this like creepy face here. It feels very like it reminds me of, have you ever seen Hellboy 2? The Guillermo del Toro one? There's like this angel creature that they meet. This is very reminiscent of that. Hum hum hum. Yeah, so the vibe I get... Yeah, she feels very, like, uncaring, if that makes sense. Like, very cold. Ambivalent. Oh, thank you for the hearts. I do like the little curved neck. That's cute. Yeah, it feels like she's very like cold, uncaring, very like overlooking humanity. Doesn't care. But then kind of similar to how I was talking with like No Face with like the previous design, where it's like you can get some like kind of cute stuff out of them even though they're like very inhuman looking. Well, yeah, I think she can also be scary. And I do really like the human face mask, and then beneath there's like a creature. It's so cool. It's very like Sphinx vibes. She comes off that way. Oh, okay, so you said she will be cold and calculating, but still caring. She first comes off to the party as uncaring and distant. But they eventually realize she's tired. Aww. And has to clean up other gods' messes. Okay, gotcha. Baby. She's just too busy being a mom. Okay. Yeah, so I like the colors a lot. They're very cohesive. I like how you've got these like kind of darker colors, whether it's like the claws, the patterning on the wings, and the head. I do like how it's very dark on the outside and then gets very like lightened up on the inside. I think that's like a choice you should keep. It's very interesting. I just think there are places in the body of the character where like I think adding in details like this would help with contrast. So for example, you could do a similar pattern where like maybe the leathers of the hands are like dark, like the talons, and then using some of this like gradient of dark to light on the limbs. Yeah, and you could use the kind of what'd you call that? They're not bands really. But you could use some of like the feather patterns on the body of the character as well. Like even if that's just like on the back, maybe you could see like kind of a similar treatment of the wings. That could be interesting. Yeah, I think the only thing to be concerned about is just losing contrast in the body of the character, but it sounds like you're still playing around with colors. It'd also be cool with the mouth of the creature. Because you've got some kind of like golds and browns going on. It would be cool for the inside of the mouth to be similar. Or you could go like really high contrast and make like the inside of the mouth really dark. Because like the outside of the character is very, very light. The colors are bound to change. I was messing with ideas on how to make her robotic, but still resemble a barn owl. Got it. Right, because she's gonna have like a very robotic feel, but more like wooden plants and some metal, rather than like just metal. I'm trying to think. Thinking the metal is bronze to match the brown and maybe lighter colors are birch. Oh, that would be really cool. Yeah, having bronze for the metal. And then the birch. Yeah, because the birch you'd have like a darker kind of underneath and then like white bark on top. Or am I just thinking of silver birches? I don't know what other birches look like. Because that could be cool. Because if you go with like a silver birch, they have this kind of pattern in the bark that makes it look like eyes. That could be interesting because it could kind of fit with like the wing pattern. Especially if it's like a goddess of fate. Like eyes feel very not prevalent. Related? Fitting? I don't know. White and black parts look like eyes. Yeah, exactly. Same page, you and me. I like it, I like it. Yeah. It would be cool. I think it would be cool if like she has a very robotic kind of body. It would be interesting for like the torso to maybe be like hollow. And I think what I'm pulling from is like the mask. Because you have this like wooden mask. Actually, I don't know if it's wood, but this like kind of owly human mask. Oh, another BL bird lady. Yes. Tagged BL. But anyways, I think if you wanted to make like her seem very robotic and inhuman, you could give her kind of like doll joints and maybe like hollow out the torso. I'm not exactly sure what I'm picturing here, but like something that would be impossible for like a living organic person, you know? Because right now you have like the filled out torso that looks like it could be made of meat, for lack of a better term. Like a creature. Whereas like I'm thinking like maybe more doll like. I was gonna retroactively add the robotic parts, wasn't entirely sure where to make it more obvious. Yeah, because I think if you go with this like I think from the mask kind of vibe, it feels very like marionette. Or like it gives like puppet vibes, if that makes sense. So what you're saying, is it impossible to cosplay character? Yeah, exactly. Wanted to make her anatomy accurate and then build her? Yeah, totally. Totally. Because I think you've got the shape down. With that mask, if you added joints and things, it makes me think the entire character would be able to open up. Oh, that would be cool. It does feel like, I think it's just because you have this like center line on the mask. So I think it's just a guideline, but it would be cool if the mask could like split open in the middle, as well as like the mouth opening from underneath. I don't know what will be under it, but that would be cool. Yeah, and if you're interested in like having her be able to like kind of open things up and like split apart in different ways, you could do things like the neck could elongate and you could maybe see like, I don't know, wooden or metal vertebrae like kind of peek out between segments of the neck as it like lengthens. And you could do that with the wings, like maybe the wing pieces like spread out. And you can see like wooden and metal mechanisms in them. Oh, and if she had like a hollow torso or something and you wanted to, you could have the plants growing inside. That's another idea. Now I'm just spitballing. But yeah, she's really, really cool. I like the concept a lot. Yeah, go Mrs. Cassiopeia, exactly. That's an amazing and horrifying idea. It'll terrify my players, thank you. I like it, I like it. Another thing to maybe pull from, because if you're dealing with fate, I guess you're kind of dealing with time. You could maybe have something with like clockwork. Though I don't know, that might feel too like steampunk. But something to think about. Oh my god! Imagine if they think they're winning because they broke off her arm for it only to independently attack them. And crawl back over. No! It's like the Thing. Just tendrils come out. Ah! Scary. I like it though. She's cool. She's just busy being the mom friend. And she's tired. If they decide to fight her, which would be a bad idea. Well, you know, players sometimes they just get bonk crazy. They get a taste for bonk and they can't stop. So you never know. Okay. Did you have any other questions about this character? And whoever would like to go next, please let me know. She controls people's fates. She could be like, yeah, about your original destiny. Yeah. So you were gonna go on to do great things, but you know, you messed with the wrong lady. Can I go next? Sure. For sure, for sure. That's it. Thank you so much. Can't wait to show her finished design. Yeah, I'm excited to see. Thank you for submitting. Alright, Artist Lee. Right, so I think you showed like a lineup for these characters before. Now we're getting more detailed ones. So along with Case and another character, JC, she'll be in the next character sheet I make. Annie and Fraser are a couple main characters for my comic idea called Out of Our Element. They're a part of the lineup. Yeah, I remember these characters. Overall, like with Case, I would like a thorough critique on their designs as well as vibes. Okay, awesome. Awesome. So we have Fraser and Annie. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, I'll do vibes first. So Annie, she feels very sweet. She feels like... Okay, the vibe I get is she's like super sweet, super nice, caring, maybe kind of maternal. Maybe not maternal, but like, you know, that like sweet kind of like sisterly vibe. And I feel like she's so sweet to like her own detriment, if that makes sense. Like she'll put aside her own issues to be caring for someone else. Or like, even when she's sad, she'll like put on a smile because she doesn't want to make other people feel bad. I don't know if I'm overreaching here, but that's the vibe I get. But yeah, she has a very gentle vibe too. And then Fraser. She's definitely the mom friend, yes. Fraser feels very... He looks very, like, happy-go-lucky. He's, like, very excitable. And, like, maybe... I feel like he always has, like, something quippy to say, you know? Like, maybe it's not always, like, super smart, but he always has something clever. He's, like, trying to make people laugh. But yeah, he looks very energetic. He looks very cheerful. He's cute. I like him. Hum. What else? He'd try and quip. Yes, let him quip. Yeah, I just feel like he'd have a killer one-liner, you know? They like defeat the bad guy and he delivers a little one-liner. I also get like best friend vibe. You know, like, you know that like archetype of a character where they're like the best friend of like one of the mains and they're like really like dependable. They're like always there for them. That's like the vibe I get from him. I love his freckles, by the way. He's so cute. He and Annie are childhood friends. Oh, baby! Baby besties. Okay. They're just the cheerful squad. Because if I'm remembering correctly, Case was more kind of like shy and quiet. Where these two feel more energetic and loud. Okay, so... Okay, design-wise, with Annie, there's a lot of circles going on in her shapes, which is great. Yeah, because you've got, like, in general, her shapes are very circular. Everything's very rounded. You've got, like, the circle from her bun. You've got, like, the cloud motif on her clothing. She's even got, like, the circle on her belt, on her shoes. Her glasses are circular. She's got, like, the little circle in the earrings. And there's also this, like, kind of cloud wispy motif as well, because you can see that in her bangs, in the clouds on her clothes, obviously. It's in the ribbon at the back. I wonder... Okay, so what I'm thinking... So, like, her face feels really cohesive. I like the shapes a lot in her face. I like how, I'll call it, it's kind of like a wing shape. Not, like, you know, it's like a teardrop, but it's also like a wing for this kind of cloud shape that's in her earring. And you can see that same shape in the hair, and in the glasses and her face shape and stuff. So it's really cohesive in here. I think it could be brought into her clothing a little bit more. Because, like, for example, the ribbons in her hair, they're very squared off. Whereas I think you could take the same general idea and really, like, taper it down to look more of, like, this teardrop kind of wing shape. And I think that would help kind of highlight that shape and really mimic, like, the shapes in her hair and her face. And then same for, like, the frills on the edging of her dress, where I think you could... How would I describe it? I think if you, like, it needs, like, more ruffliness. But I think if you kind of changed each... like loop or wave of the ruffle to feel more like this shape, I think that would really help pull it together. Because yeah, there you can see that teardrop shape in the shape of her her sleeves, that's the word. I'm also wondering if maybe at her middle, because her middle, like, you kind of have two round shapes. You have, like, the round shape of her torso going into the belt, and then you have the round shape of the skirt going into the belt, but there's, like, still a little bit of this, like, rectangular shape, kind of, like, below her bust, and, like, where the belt is. I'm wondering... It would still be subtle, but I think if you maybe, like, brought the belt up, so there's less of this kind of, like, rectangular shape right in the middle. So it would be, like, the bottom of her bust, there would be the belt, and then the skirt would just come out from under the belt. So in reality, like, more of her torso would be, like, under the skirt. Like, the skirt would be really high-waisted. I just wonder if that, again, would give that more kind of teardrop-y shape to both points. I was thinking they could taper the edges of the belt to a point, so it kind of disappears into the folds of the fabric. That would work too. That would work too. because I think just at her middle, it's a little too squared off, where the rest of her is very teardrop or round. Yeah, so I think you can just push the shapes a little bit more in her clothing to kind of get there. Because then the fabric parts could be rounded out even more because it goes over the belt edges. Yeah, that too. Yeah, like having the clothing, like the shape of the clothing kind of cut into the other shapes to give them that like teardroppy round shape. Yeah. Okay, now color-wise. Right, so her two main colors, there's this like grayish, tealy blue, and then you have the bright red of her hair. Well, it's kind of three colors. You have this kind of like grayish blue, and then you have the more kind of teal blue, and then you have the red from the hair. Or the skin tone feels like it really pulls from the hair. It's that same kind of warm color. Yeah, so I like the use of the three colors, and it repeats well throughout the design. I just wonder if there's any way to bring more of like the red elsewhere. Hello, Cam. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, because the other kind of warm parts of the color come from like the skin at her knees showing, her hands, and then her face and her shoulders. Yeah, true. The shoes could be warm instead of black. I'm trying to think, because you probably wouldn't want other stuff like as bright red as her hair. But maybe you could have like a reddish brown for the shoes and maybe bring that into some other accessories. Like maybe similar to the color of the freckles because they're like a very warm brown. It's hard. And it could also be balanced out if maybe her socks were a little bit shorter. Like, I like what you're going for, because it gives this very, like, cutesy, like, magical girl dress. And then having, like, the high stockings, like, makes sense. But, yeah, I'm just wondering about bringing some of that warm color into, like, the lower part of the character design. Because you want, if you cut your character into quarters, so like down the middle, down the center and then across the middle, you kind of want all of the colors and shapes to kind of match equally. Maybe not equally, but to line up all together in each quarter of the design, so that if anyone was looking at just one slice, they'd be like, oh, that looks like Annie. Yeah, where like her upper half and her face, like you got all this warmth, and then the lower half of the character is very cool colors. So yeah, just bringing that warmth in somewhere I think would help you out a lot. And then yeah, I think if you bring in some more of like some warm browns or reds into her lower half, you might need to like also dot them throughout the rest of the design. So it might be like the belt might need to be the same brown, for example, if you use a brown. But yeah, you'll have to play around with it and see what you like. But yeah, her design is super cute. The colors are great. They all work together really well. Yeah, I think you just need to push some of the color and like shaping. Did you have any questions about Annie? What's the fashion rule? The belt should match the socks. I think it's belt and shoes should match. I think that's the rule. Not that I can think of. Okie dokie. So for Frasier, let's see. Alright, so he's obviously got the little lightning bolt motif. I really like the echo of the yellow throughout his design. Like, I like how it's in the shoes. You see it again, like, on his shirt at the middle, along his, like, wristbands. And then through, like, accents on the shirt, and then in the eyes. Like, it's just a nice little repeat throughout the whole design. I'm glad the windswept stuff comes through with Annie. For sure, definitely. You can totally see that in her shapes. But yeah, but I love the balance of his colors. Yeah, there's really great contrast between all of his, like, different costuming pieces. Like, I like how you have, like, the white and yellows are surrounded by, like, darker colors. I like how you've got, like, different kind of tones of this gray and the black. And his skin tone works so well with, like, the oranges and the yellows. They're very... I think, yeah, his design has a really good balance between, like, the warm colors and the cool gray throughout as well. And I guess you'd count the white and the black as, like, cool colors as well. Yeah, there's just lots of, like, nice little bits of color everywhere. Where I think if you did the quartering method with this character, you could tell that, like, each piece is the same character. I think color-wise, that works really, really well. The only thing I would say is I feel like the orange needs to be brought up into his face a little bit more. Because you've got, like, the orange bands of the socks, you've got the belt. Yeah, it just feels like it needs to be somewhere kind of, like, up in the face, maybe shoulder area. So that could be, I don't know, a necklace, or a hairband, or maybe making, like, because you've got kind of like a ring around the pupil. Like, maybe if that was more orange, that could work really well. Just something to bring it up into the face a little bit more. But otherwise, I think there's a really good balance with the colors. And then with the lightning bolt shape. Because, yeah, you can see it in, like, the points of his collar. You can see, like, he's got the designs in his clothing. I like the little... I'm not sure what you'd call that. Like, the cutout kind of shape on his pants. And it's not, like, lightning bolt shape, but it has that same geometric vibe. Yeah, because he's kind of got a mix of this, like, this kind of jagged geometric lightning bolt, and then there's lots of, like, horizontal lines, because you've got that in, like, the cuffs of his shirt, you've got it in, like, his belt, the pants cuffs, the socks, the, like, lines on the shoes. You can even see it in, like, the sectioning of his hair. There's kind of this, like, horizontal line vibe. The black in his pants are pockets. Oh, okay, yeah, the pockets. Yes. Yeah. So I think shape-wise, things look very nice. Trying to think if there's, like, any shape stuff that needs to be, like, changed. Because there's some roundness as well. There's the horizontal lines, there's like the jagged shapes. Yeah, I honestly think the only thing to add would just be bringing that orange highlight into the upper half of the character. But otherwise, like, this is a really strong character design. Like, really good contrast, really good shapes, really nice little details. Yeah. Did you have any questions for this one? Was there anything you were like struggling with or wondering about? Out of curiosity, do you get a sporty vibe with him? Yeah, definitely. He does have a very sporty vibe. I think part of it is like, oh, he runs a lot. I think what gives the sporty vibe is like, part of it is like the wristbands, because they feel like, you know, like a sweatband that like a runner would wear or an athlete would wear, along with the what would you call that? The compression sleeve on his arm. The lightning bolts also give that kind of vibe for speed, I guess. But yeah, I definitely get a sporty vibe. Compression sleeve, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely get sporty. Yeah. He also feels like he could be a Pokemon trainer, but I think that's just because with Pokemon trainers, they give them very sporty looks. And the lightning motif as well. They do add that in Pokemon as well for certain characters. Yeah. Valid. He's so cute. But yeah, really great character design for him. Did you have any more questions? I should make a Pokemon of you. Yes! What Pokemon would they have? That's all? Awesome. Well, thank you for submitting. Who would like to go next? We have Kuroe, Tori, Mouse, Kairos, Jolteon for sure. Yes! Jolteon! I could also see him with, is it Emolga? Is that like the flying squirrel? Electric one? That would be cute too. Yeah. Raichu would also be very cute. Wait, what would Annie have? Oh, a Swablu. 100% Swablu. All right. Who would like to go next? So Kairos, I know you wanted to go last. Is Kuroe here or Tori? Chills on her head. Yes, it'd be so cute. All right. If no one wants to volunteer, I will volunteer some people. I don't have to go last, I just like not to hold anyone up. I think you're good. I think we could look at yours. Because I don't think Kuro's here currently. I don't think Tori or Mouth are here. So, we could look at your gimmick. I like these guys. I like the Imperials when they go. Sorry. Let's give them time then. Okay. We love squiggly guys. Yes! We love a wiggly little guy. Okay. So, let's see what your questions were. Okay, so you were wondering about the book structuring. How do you feel about the structuring? Do you think the previous scenes from the June critique acted as a good end to the first book? Do these scenes feel like a solid beginning to a second book? I think so. I think what you did in the last book, it felt like a good start because it was it asked a lot of questions because, you know, you're setting up your world, you're asking questions, and there were some answers, but obviously there's still ongoing mysteries. I liked the revelations that are happening in the beginning of this book, where we're being trickled in some more answers, but obviously, like, not everything answered. Sometimes the answer brings more questions. I don't want to say what the reveal was because I can't remember if it's like published yet. I think it was in the pages not published bit. But yeah, but I think slowing things down to do some of this like upfront world building with like the Imperials and like the structure of the world, I think that is there were a lot of reveals, true. But I think it's a nice way to bring you in. Like, instead, because when you finish the first book, you're getting into the second book, we have a little bit of run-up time of like, here's some world building, here's some lore drops, instead of just jumping into the next scene with characters. And just continuing forward. Like, I think this is a nice way to like kind of bring you in now that you can take a breath, kind of thing, if that makes sense. Here's some funny yellow monsters. Exactly. Here's some wiggly little guys. Okay. Right, and you were wondering about the exposition about the Imperials. Yeah, so it definitely, it feels like it's opening up some revelations, but not telling us everything. And I like how there is some foreshadowing. Not foreshadowing. There's definitely like little bits where I'm like, oh, this is connected to, you know, the little starshine thing is connected to what happened to Harvey in the beginning of the story, kind of thing. Like, I can see connections and parallels, but like I don't have all the answers yet. What do you think of the Imperials based on what you have read? They are spooky. And if you had to guess, what do you think happens in the second half of the history of the Imperials? Right. So if I'm understanding correctly, they showed up on the Earth. They started messing around with like gene editing, messing around with life on Earth. I'm assuming I might go back and redo these pages but make them lineless. Might help to stand out more. I thought they worked really well. I think you did a good job with like balancing kind of like metaphorical imagery to go with the explanations. That was one thing, jumping ahead, that was one thing I really liked about the explanation of, what's her name? Miss Moo? What's her name? Just said that M. Scans words. What's her name? The lady. Miss Moon. Thank you. Wait, but what's her actual name? Like, what was her name revealed to be in the pages I read? Miss Chaeyoung. Okay. Okay. So Chaeyoung. She... Oh, dang, I found her name. Moon Chaeyoung. Okay. So, when she talks about how her power works, I really liked your little visual representation of that. It... Again, I really like that use of, like, metaphorical visuals, where, like, not everything you see in the panel is literal. Oh, there's a helicopter search right now outside. I gotta go to work. No! Don't let them take you. Or stay safe. That's scary. What the heck are they doing? They're looking for you. Or stay safe. Why do you stream a bit longer? Just I hope they go past. I hope they go past and cause you no trouble. 'Cause that's scary. Sorry, that just reminds me of like when I remember at the last place Bones and I lived, I think it was when his dad was still living there and I just moved in. Anyways, it was like a little complex. They're looking for an Aubrey. Aubrey, where are you? Right, the complex. So it was like a little complex of like townhouses. And I remember going out and there was like police everywhere and they were like, please go back into your home. And we were like, what? Because I think Bones' dad went out to like take out the trash. And they were like, go back in. We were like, oh. So I still don't know what they were there for, but we all just stayed inside and no trouble happened. Step back inside, citizen. Yes, it was scary. I think they were just looking for someone who was in the complex, but scary, not cool. Not a fan of police. Okay. Right, anyways, as I was saying, I like the use of, like, metaphorical visuals in the story, where, yeah, things aren't always literally happening in the scene. I like your use of, like, representational visuals. I think it's really fun. And helps with, like, understanding some of the concepts and stuff. Like, I liked it through this intro with the Imperials. I liked it with, Jade immediately forgets her name. Chaeyoung. I like that with her intro. Yeah. But, so my impression of the Imperials, they're scary. They give me bad vibes. My theory, having only maybe like a little bit of like extra info from the pages I read, my theory is that they're like they like took over the planet and like subjugated humanity. And they're the reason everyone's in these like this underground city. Yeah, and I feel that now this is just my headcanon. I don't know how much basis there is for this. My theory is that they have they did something, whether that's like to change themselves or humanity, which caused kind of like a little mini apocalypse, and they put all the people in the underground city. They did what they're doing with Harvey and the other people, which I won't spoil. And maybe left behind some experiments to keep an eye on things. But my theory is the Imperials are gone. They, like, apocalypsed themselves. That's my theory. But they've left behind creepy things. Like the monster that showed up at the beginning. That's my theory. Do you think it's good or bad to break up the explanation this way? I think it's good, personally. I mean, I'd have to read the whole thing to have, like, a good feel for that. But I do like the kind of slow, like the breadcrumbs of story. Like, you're not given everything up front. There's still mysteries and questions. I think that just makes for, like, better pacing, better story. Okay, and the Imperials are not mentioned at all in book 1. Okay, you're worried the explanation is coming out of nowhere. The thing is, like, I think they're, like, you didn't mention their names, but I don't think it's necessary because you left some foreshadowing about them. So, for example, like, we can see, like, this golden light in the flashback from Harvey. We can see, you know, because they had their interaction with the monster. There's clearly, like, the mystery about what the heck happened with Harvey. There's the mystery of the elevator. So even if you weren't explicitly saying, like, the Imperials are part of this, there's still been hints about them. And I think by revealing them now, it just adds some context to things we've already seen. So I don't think it comes out of left field, honestly. Does the exposition feel too sudden at the opening of the book? I think it's fine to open on it. Like I said, I like kind of taking it slow for the next book. I think that's a good place to kind of, like, trickle some things in. That's true, I've been hinting at them. Yeah, exactly. Because there's so many things in stories like that where, like, if you came out and said exactly what was happening right from the get-go, it would be boring. But, like, trickling in some hints about what's going on, about what things are as our characters discover new things, like, that just helps with, like, pacing and keeping the readers questioning and guessing and keeping them invested in things. On the right track, they're a more ancient problem that left behind bad stuff. That's how it feels. It feels like they left a mess behind. Yeah. They flew too close to the sun, as it were. Because I feel like if they ran into one, they'd be screwed. It's like bumping into, like, an elder god. You're like, uh-oh, I'm gonna get smooshed. Right, and then you were asking about the style being more simplistic for some of these explanations. And like I said, I really like it. I think it separates these concepts from like what's actually happening in the story. They still fit the style really well. I think it works. I think it works very well. I like how it's very representational rather than like showing the actual thing. It leaves some things to the imagination, which is nice. Which can be hard in comics. You know, you're told you kind of have to show everything visually, but like sometimes leaving things to the imagination is good. Teehee, what if they already ran into one? Oh no! Ruh-roh. Ruh-roh. Well, they're gonna get smushed. Okay, and then explainy scenes. There's a lot of info, heavy explanation scenes, like Kai going to Jae-young's house. Oh, I really like that scene. You're worried about it's just two characters sitting and talking. I really liked that. I thought there was a great kind of pacing with like, currently available start. What did you do? Get those squiggly guys out of here. Anyways, I really like the pacing in that scene where Kai and Chaeyoung are talking. It was really cool. I liked the reveal of like her face and her identity, and I think you did some really cool representational stuff with like I love that one panel where she's like, don't tell him. Like, it's the way you set it up is so cool. I'm like, oh, it's scary. Just the vibes. Yeah, I think atmospherically you did a lot there, and it was a lot of dialogue. But maybe I'm just biased because I love some lore drops. But I really liked it. I thought it was cool. I thought it was well paced. I thought the reveals were really interesting. Don't tell him. I'm sure it'll go great for his mental health. Yeah. Shush. Right. And then there's the talking scene when he gets back and they're eating the food. Oh, I love the bit where she's like, oh, that's my heart breaking. That was really funny. I didn't mind it. I mean, it has been a lot of characters like sitting and talking in the most recent scenes. But it's not like the story isn't moving forward. Because if I think about like some of our comics, like Magpie in particular, there's a lot of like talking head scenes, a lot of people talking in a room, but your story can still be pushed forward by characters speaking to each other. Because there's still new information being given. Like, not everything has to be an action scene for it to be interesting. In the cook-off between Harvey and Chaeyoung, Harvey wins. Oh, Harvey. Our beautiful mans. Next scene, interesting stuff will happen, I promise. I mean, it was broken up by, like, the lore drop about the Imperials at the start. There is that. Yeah, because I think you break it up pretty well, because you use some different, like, angles to show the characters talking, to really get the mood. Like, when they're revealing something scary, you have, like, a very big, nice vibe to it. There were some bits where, like, Harvey was talking about, like, his life before, where we see some flashbacks of what that was like. I think you break it up pretty well. But yeah, reading through, I wasn't ever like, oh, I'm bored, or like, oh my god, they're talking again. It was just like, ooh, give me more information. What's happening? Yeah. Is it almost always better to have characters physically doing something while talking? It can. I know with writing, that's generally the idea, so that if you're writing prose, having your characters do things, I guess it makes sense for, like, visual stories like comics as well. I know Bones emphasizes you have to repeat info a lot. Totally, you do. You gotta say it loud for the people in the back who aren't reading very closely. So yeah, repetition is totally fine. But I know with like prose, it is help so that your characters aren't just sitting at a table in a blank space. It's important to have like, people will recommend like having your character doing something with their hands. So it could be like they're cooking while they're talking, or they're sneaking through the city while they're talking, or they're folding laundry while they're talking. And you can use some of these actions like metaphorically, like you can have them doing multiple things. So like for the sneaking through the city, you could have an important talk with characters like giving important exposition, but they're also sneaking through the city because someone's chasing them and they need to get to this important spot without being caught, kind of thing. And you could also, as like a third layer, it could be like them sneaking through and hiding is kind of parallel to them hiding information from each other while they're talking. It can be like a representation of their like emotional state where they're hiding things from each other, or one of the characters is hiding things. So you can do that with just like mundane actions. You know, I'm just trying to come up with random ideas off the top of my head, but like say you have two characters talking while they're like cleaning dishes, and they're having they're talking about like an issue in their relationship that just won't go away, and one of the characters is cleaning dishes and they're scrubbing and scrubbing at this one stain on a dish that just won't come out. Like, you can use that to kind of like emphasize the conversation they're having, even though washing the dishes is like very mundane. So I think it's important to be creative with like when you have characters just sitting and talking, because those talking scenes are important. You can have a story where they just sit at a table and talk, and it can be really engaging. But I think if you are creative with like how you use your character's actions, I think you can add kind of more layers to your story. I have to remind myself setting up all this info is worth it in the future for the story. Totally. Sometimes you do have to do a lot of setup. What I think you're doing well is you're mixing it in with like humor and character building, which will keep a lot of people engaged as you set up like lore stuff that maybe is not as fun as like action. Okay, with Chaeyoung, what are your initial assumptions about her identity? I wasn't sure. I mean, when she first showed up, I thought maybe she was Kai's boss, which I did like the reveal about who she is. I won't say what, because I don't remember if it's past the reveal or past the published pages. But I was not expecting that. I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And her having maybe like a bigger part in affecting the character's actions. I'm like, what does this mean? So that was interesting. Impression of her personality. She is a little bit not an actual business way. Oh, okay. Look at her giving Kai orders. True. Yeah, but what role do you think she'll play in the story? She's interesting. She feels, the kind of vibe I get from her is like antagonist. Like she doesn't quite feel villainous. She's a little spooky and mysterious. Like she feels like kind of a mentor character. It's helped by the fact that it's revealed that she's maybe like pushing things along, maybe indirectly in the story. She's masterminding some things kind of indirectly. But I'm not sure how malicious that is, or if it's malicious, or if it's good. She's a little, what's the word? It's a little ambiguous if she's good or bad for our main characters. I do like to think maybe she's on the good side. She seemed to show some like empathy. She seems to care about the character she has a connection with. If you had to theorize, what do you think her connection with the monsters or the people holding keys? Mastermind, mentor, antagonist. Yeah, because like I am curious about her relationship with the other character. With her relation. Because I can see tension in their characters, which is really interesting for understanding our main's personality. Where yeah, it adds some interesting intrigue about like their relationship and his past and what is her involvement? She feels very much like, okay, I don't know if you've ever seen Evangelion. But she feels like some of the scientist characters where like they kind of have an idea of what's going on, but they don't have all the information. Where like she was involved in like, yeah, where like they know there's some weird shit happening, but they don't know, they don't have all the answers, but they helped create some of these issues. That's the vibe I get. Where I feel like she maybe worked with these like monsters or people and saw what was happening, and then maybe like the project had to be abandoned or something went wrong and she's like moved on from it, but she knows about it. That's my vibe. Glad you had a good read on her character. Awesome, that's good. Louise, you're doing a good job. Why do you think he's against visiting her? I feel like there's right, and the relationship together. I feel like there was maybe pressure on him to... Okay, so he feels like he avoids all his responsibilities. And it feels very much like character development stuff, where like it's a fundamental flaw with his personality. And I feel like a lot of it has maybe stemmed from like having really high expectations on him from her. I wanted to say there's something that needs to be amended in this scene. Harvey should be confused why Kai knows about the key. Oh yeah, that would make sense, because you're right. He's like, how would you know about that? Okay, I could see that being added. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that would make sense. I can't remember. Does he have a reaction to does Harvey have a reaction to Kyung stealing the key? Because I know Kai does, but I was wondering if... I can't remember if Harvey did. Because that would also be something I'd be wondering about. Yeah, I didn't know he stole it. Because that does feel like a character building moment. It might not be like reacted to in the moment, but I'm like, would Harvey not trust Kyung so much after that? He's probably surprised, but really you didn't get thrown away. Fair. But yeah, I am curious, like, does Harvey care that Kyung, like, has gone through his stuff and stolen from him? Or does Kyung worry that Harvey thinks badly of him. I don't know. These maybe are not things that need to be answered in these scenes, but just characterization stuff to think about. Okay. As a reader, what questions do you have about the character story, environments, and what do you hope to be addressed? Needs to be addressed. I feel like you're addressing a lot of the questions, because a lot of the questions I have are like what is the elevator? What's happening on the levels above the city? Why is everyone underground? Should probably bring it up later in a gag at least. Yeah, maybe. Up to you. If it fits. Sometimes you don't want to bog down your story with little moments like that as much as like I as a reader want to see like little character interactions. Sometimes they can drag down the pacing. But anyways. Because if it's not an important point you're going to bring up in the story, like, I don't know, if you were trying to sow mistrust between like Kyung and Harvey, this would be a good place to like start that mistrust. But if that's not a point in your story you want, then I wouldn't even worry about it. I wouldn't even mention it. Otherwise the reader's gonna think about it too much. Right, yeah, so I'm curious about like the elevator, the monsters, why people are where they are. I'm curious about like what happened to Harvey. I'm curious about what Cheong mentioned about Harvey's situation and the thing he's afflicted with. I'm like, oh, what is that? What is it? Because it's mentioned that Kai know what it is, but I don't, and I'm like, what is it? I'm curious about how the Imperials play into it and like what they did. I can't remember. It might be just it's been a while since I've read it all through. But I was curious about like the powers that people have. What's it gonna do to him? The big mystery. Exactly. Because I know Kyung has like kind of some telepathy. Is it telepathy? He can move things. Telekinesis, not telepathy. And then it's mentioned that Cheong can like see the future a little bit. I'm curious about like these powers and where they come from and how they play into things. If it's like, is it connected to the Imperials? Is it just a thing that's always existed in this world? If you have an explanation for it and I've just forgotten, then I apologize. It's not a big story thing, but I am curious about Kai and Kyung's relationship, considering they are exes. Magnetism, that sucks. Kai has perfect vision. Cheong has foresight. Harvey has his purple arm. We love his purple arm, okay? Yeah, so I'm curious about like their prior relationships kind of thing, like what happened there. The phenomenon is adaptation. The powers are called abilities. Okay, I'm vaguely remembering this. It's from page 50 though. Or 50 pages ago, yeah. It's just been a minute. Okay. Yeah, I think something I'd want to see is them like exploring the elevator stuff more. Obviously it doesn't have to be right away, but I would like them to return there, maybe find the other keys kind of thing. And then maybe more explanation about what Cheong and what Cheong is/was doing around the elevator stuff, because she mentioned she worked in that facility-ish or something like that. And I don't know, is Kai wrapped up in that stuff? It'd be interesting. They're going on an adventure in the other layers. Yes! Okay, that sounds fun. I like that. I was hoping it was going that way. I didn't think they'd just sit around the city going, huh, what's going on? But yeah, it sounds like they're going on a little treasure hunt. I'm at the parking kiosk, so I'm popping off. Go buy ores. I'm glad you made it through okay. Good luck at work. What do you think is gonna happen in the following scene? Me trying to remember what happened. Believe me, I want to get out of the city. Get me out of here. Are you excited about like future scenes? And you're like, oh my god, let me get through this. Hold on, let me just quickly hide the screen so I don't like spoil your pages. What happened at the end? Where did it lead? Oh, right. Okay, now I remember. Kyung is like, I'm out of here. Responsibilities? Who is she? Yeah. What is gonna happen? I feel like Kyung is going to mess up. I feel like he's gonna go get into trouble. Visit my mom or substance abuse. Exactly. It's like substance abuse, 100%. I feel like he's gonna go off and stir up trouble. I feel like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Maybe someone is following them. Maybe he's gonna like get into some unrelated trouble that like puts some pressure on them to like get moving. That's my feeling. Yup. Pretty lighting, right? It's so pretty. I love the houses. They're so cool. I know it's just very like Korean houses, but they're cool looking. It's nice. They're just pretty houses. What can I say? My guy cannot stay out of trouble. Exactly. He's just up to trouble. He's not even trying and he's in trouble. Was that the last of the questions? I think that's it. Did you have any further questions about them? Oh, that's why I wanted to call her Miss Moon. I was like, Miss Moon. Miss Let me see. Yeah, let me know if you have questions. Oh, there was one. Let me check if it's a spoiler. Hold on. There's one page where I wanted to point out a little issue. I think it's a spoiler page. Nar. Okay, if you go to page... Wait, is it? Hold on. Wait, no, it's not. Wait, is it? Wait. Am I silly? Am I silly? I'm silly, it has been posted. Okay, hold on. Okay, this page, this panel, when I first looked at it, I didn't realize Kyung saying, "So where'd you go?" was the first line. I think it's because I'm reading left to right. So even though it's positioned higher up, because it's so far to the right, my first thing I read was your mother's house, and I was like, what? I'm confused. Yeah. So it is hard with the composition you've chosen, but I think you need to move Or maybe not for this page, in future pages, because I know this one has been published. So yeah, that is just something to keep in mind. It is something I struggle with as well. I knew it this page. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah, because typically you're very good with your placement and stuff. And it is hard because Kuhn's like way on the right, where you'd kind of have to... Yeah, you'd probably, if you were to redo this, I'd probably move these down here so that like the little exchange is down here, and then put these two up here. And you might even need to move the picture over to the right a little bit. Oh, I like the joke in that page. I thought it was funny. But if it doesn't work for the characters, it doesn't work. I thought it was cute. Oh, what did you think about Harvey not caring about the living hourglass issue? I was confused at first, but the explanation made sense. Because he's like, oh, it's a living, the hourglass is a living thing. And then, wait, is it? Is it spoiled? Is he spoilers? Blistle, so I don't accidentally spoil. Yeah, okay, so there's the explanation. Right, because from my understanding, Harvey used to live on the surface. And he's like, oh, it's just like organic material, like the earth. Yeah, exactly. So he's like, yeah, I used to do farming and like live in the world. On the earth. Right. See, when I heard the hourglass is a living being, I was like, are they in a creature? Is this vor? I don't know what Bones is up to. He's walking around with the kettle. He does not drink tea. So yeah, my vibe was like, are they in some kind of animal? But if it's just that the hourglass is like... I mean, the situation Harvey actually did live on top of another hourglass-like creature. Oh! What? Harvey lived on top of that hourglass? It's a big living building? That is cool. So they are inside a creature. That's cool. I like that. Okay, so I thought he was being more metaphorical here. So I don't know if that just needs more explanation, but in this case it's integrated into the land, so he did live just in the surface at normal ground level. Okay. Gotcha. On the surface, yeah. See, these guys, they're living inside the earth. He's living on the earth. Okay. So he's aware of the hourglass creature. Am I interpreting this right? So he's aware of it. They thought he maybe like him and his society saw it as like a god or a creature that you... Because he says they gave offerings to it and stuff. It's not a big deal in the story, so don't mind much if people interpret it as a spiritual belief. That's the vibe I got. It felt like he was like, oh yeah, you know, we believe in the earth and like in a spiritual way and it's alive. And then Kai is like, no, it's a creature. We live in the creature's belly. I don't know. Because in my head now, they're living in the Meat Pit National Park. That's what I'm imagining. I think he's not surprised it exists. He didn't know the hourglass existed specifically. His living creature is called the Harvest or the Steppe. He's named after. Oh, Harvey. That's cute. Oh, that's really cool. See, I'd be interested in more of an explanation of it. But the steppe is literally just a living plains biome. Oh. Gotcha. That's really cool. It will be brought up more when they go there. Okay. If there's more explanation, then just keep it coming. Because I'm like, I want to know about all this. But obviously it's hard to fit into like a single scene and explain it all. Okay. So I misinterpreted that. Was there anything else that you were wondering about? Pardon me. I'm probably going too literal with this, but I'm also picturing, like, there's a book I read that I loved called The Stars Are Legion, where they're in, like, living spaceships. Well, they're like planets. They're like living, like, organic creature planets that are also ships. That's what I'm picturing. I can't think of anything. I think we're good. Awesome. Well, thank you for submitting. All right, Tori. I saw you were here. Would you like to go next? Could also do Kuroe or Mouth. Who would like to go? Meow, meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow. Hello, sure. Awesome. Well, that's cool. The purpose of the steppe and the hourglass being living is they can carry out the will of their inhabitants. Oh, right. Right. It did mention that. I'm curious about what that means. Is it like they can manifest things? Or is it like... Huh. Because, yeah, they did mention that. Because Harvey mentioned, like, they would give it offerings. And it would give them, like, a good harvest. And then, like, in the city, is it like, oh, we have more people, so we need more food? Is the hourglass like, here, have more food. Num num, eat up. Yep, step, there's the exchange of offerings for good harvests. Oh, that's cool. Okay. That's cool. Alright, Tori.
Let's freaking go.
Alright. I'm pretty new to drawing animal characters in anthros and would love any advice. I made the more finished one black and white because there's... Oh, okay. I was wondering because there's... It looks like, yeah, they're scraped up. There might be some blood. So thank you for making it black and white for the sake of YouTube. It does not like blood. And for the one where the lizard's character's in the water, she's totally fine a second later. Oh my god, due to a nat 20 death save. That's amazing. If you don't want to show it, because it looks like she might have drowned, that's fine. I think it's fine. If you're able to critique that one, I'd love any advice about composition, because I'm itching to paint it, for sure. Okay. So for this first one, are you looking at just like kind of anthro anatomy stuff? For one, the characters are adorable. I love these two. They're so cute. I love the tail, it's so long. And their expressions are so cute and they look like gentle friends. Oh. Yes. And I love the big hoofs. Okay. They're so cute. So I think you've got a good handle. So anthro stuff, like, it it can be up to interpretation. Some people really care about, like, say, like, digigrade. I mean, hoofed creatures are technically digigrade because they're standing on their toenails. And then, like, cats and dogs are digigrade where they're standing on, like, their toe pads. Because, like, this is technically the foot. Like, this is the heel. And this is their toe. And then this is the shin. And this is the thigh. So, like, some people get pretty... It depends on what kind of anthro you want. Sometimes, the anthros are, like, totally human and just have some features. And then some people really care about, like, you know, creating, like, the specific legs or, like, specific features, like how do you add wings and stuff like that. But anyway, so it's really up to, like, how you want to do the characters. I keep being stuck on their proportions. It's difficult. It is difficult to transfer over. Because I find when I do the digigrade paws, I tend to make, like, the foot, like the toe to ankle, like, way too long. And it ends up making the legs too long. So yeah, that one is difficult. I feel you. I like the proportions that you gave the bull guy. The Minotaur. Cause he has, like, he's very, like, wide and stocky. And I think there's a good proportion with, like, the legs to the torso kind of thing. Where it fits him well. He feels like the legs are very bulky, his shoulders, torso, arms, very bulky. And I like the size of the hooves. I think because with hooves you can go, like, either very, like, tiny, but I like how you've gone larger with this character to show, like, how kind of, like, big and bulky. It fits his stature really well to have, like, these really big hooves. It's hard to say. I think the foot, you might be having the same issue I do, where the foot part might be a little bit too long. Let me look at the other ones. Oh, babies. Oh, they're so cute. What the heck? It's hard to say, though. I feel like the barrel-chested characters usually have the teeny feet. But it does feel like he should have the wide, bulky legs, too. Yeah, I think it suits him. Because, like, everything about him is very bulky. Because it's not even like he's got big arms and tiny hands. It's like everything is very bulked out. So I like the thick hooves. And I think it suits your style as well, because your style is very, very cute and geometric, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I think the only issue is maybe the foot, like the heel to the hoof, feels a little bit long, but, like, just a little. I love their expressions. They're so cute. Let me just get distracted while I just talk about how cute they are. Hum hum hum. As for the lizard character, I think you do a really good job with her like hands and feet, because I know with, like, lizards, I'm not super familiar. I haven't drawn a lot of, like, lizards. I've drawn some dragons, but, like, that's very different than, like, an anthro lizardy character where they do kind of have like their hands have structure, but they're like a little less structured than like human hands, if that makes sense. They feel like they can wiggle a little bit. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? Their hands feel different. Like it's the same with birds, where like our bird, like you think her feet are like structured very rigidly, but her toes can go just like wherever. Whereas like with human hands and feet, I guess, like it's very much, there's a lot of tensile movement in the fingers and like the top half of the hand, but like I feel like with lizards, like the hands are kind of more squishy. So I like the effect that you have like with her kneeling, seeing her little toes kind of like less rigid than say like human's foot. I think that works really well. And then same when they're like planted on the ground, where they have that same vibe. I think it just works really well. Yeah, and I like how just like rounded out everything is. It really suits your style. We love a height difference. Was there anything else in particular with this one you were wondering about? For like anthroanatomy? Maybe her hands can be squishier like her feet? That is true. That would be interesting. Because does she have... She still has like kind of clawed hands. They're pointy like her feet. But yeah, you could maybe have that kind of like curve to them. Or yeah, her hands feel very structured. But that's another... I think that's another choice you can make. Because sometimes people will have like... Say you have like a cat anthro. Some people will make both the hands and feet very cat-like. So like for the hands, the fingers might be shorter. They're more like paws. They have like the retractable claws. Whereas like some artists might choose to do human hands basically with maybe like sharper claws. And maybe like they might have like leathers on their palm like a cat might have, but not as like pronounced. Because like for 9 point with our cats, I went for very like human structured hands just to make it easier on myself. So it is up to you. I bet the part I was most worried about in the first one was the big boy barrel chest proportions. I don't have a lot of super muscular characters, and it might feel stiff. Oh. I think it works really well. I like the proportion of like his shoulders and neck to his chest. It feels... I think proportionally it works really well. Especially with like a bull's head like this, because they have like very thick necks compared to like humans, right? So I think you did a really good job with like connecting the head to the shoulders. That still feels proportional. And he feels just so big, which is good. I think that's what you're going for. I think the only thing to worry about might be the arms. So like here where he's got the one arm kind of bent because he's like gripping her hand. I think you've got a good kind of sectioning with like the forearm and the upper arm. Whereas I find on this side, feels a little straight down. Maybe not straight down, but it feels like the upper arm is like a little bit too short as compared to the forearm. Now obviously you can make that work. Because let me see the other pictures. Yeah, because you've got the good sectioning with like the different arm pieces. Oh, and I really like the bend here. You can see like the muscle. Yeah, and here you've got a good separation of like the different arm sections. Yeah, I think that's the only thing that might be throwing it off, is just this arm feels a little, like, undefined, I think. But other than that, I think you've got a good idea for, like, the shape. Because, like, I like the little use of, like, a little bit of shading here to show, like, the size of his chest. Like I said, I love the connection between, like, the neck and the shoulders. Yeah, and I really love this one here, where he's, like, sat forward. I remember watching a character design vid when being like, oh yeah, elbows and knees exist. Because I was making everything noodly. Noodles is so fun, though. That's the thing, though. I do like a design where, like, if they say their arm is, like, outstretched, like, the elbows disappear. I think that's kind of fun, and then they bend. But there's still, like, a defined, like, elbow. I think that's cute. It's just, it creates cuteness, you know? It's like an Animal Crossing character where they, like, their feet are just, like, little noodles or tubes, but they still bend, and it's still cute. I like that as well. I definitely fall into that too sometimes because I like a noodle. But anyways, here, I really like the definition of, like, his torso here, where he's, like, bent forward. I love the hump of the neck. Just to show, like, the muscle and, like, the way, like, the neck muscles attach to the back and stuff. Where it definitely feels like a good mix between, like, the bull and the human anatomy. I think, right, and I love the definition of, like, how barrel-chested he is. Like, he feels very structured. Yeah, and I like how you see, like, the back muscle, like, arch, and then, like, the front stomach muscles, like, compress. And go past, like, his hip joint. Like, it makes him feel like a thick boy. I think in this one in particular, his shoulder goes back a little bit too far. I think kind of where you have the cloth draping over the shoulder, I think that's kind of where, like, the crease in the shoulder would happen. If that makes sense. Like, I feel like there's a bit too much of a crease where it makes his, what would it be? I don't know the actual medical term, but, like, the collarbone. Because you have some mobility from, like, your collarbone to your shoulder, to, like, your little shoulder joint. So you can move that forward when you, like, hunch forward, and you can push it back when you, like, straighten out. So I think there's just it's a bit too long in that section. So I think if you, like, cut that line here and kind of blend it in the muscles of his back, I think that would feel a bit more structurally sound. Yeah, clavicles. It's really hard because there's a lot of, like, stretching that can happen in the back, especially when you have, like, a really thick character like this. Yeah. So I think just the shoulders, like, back here a bit too long. Hope I described that well. I need to look up my terms. But yeah, otherwise it looks so good. They're so cute. I think the anatomy on the lizard lady looks really, really great. I love just a gentle little kiss. So sweet. What the heck? Yeah, and just their gentle little expressions. I love her little stripes. They're so cute. What kind of lizard is she?
She's a blue-tailed skink. Oh, baby. See, baby.
Oh, it's so cute. I love their expressions here. So tender.
Oh, what the heck?
Hum hum hum. Do. Okay, sorry, I was just checking your notes. Okay, so I think I covered everything for this. Let me know if you have any questions about the sketch of them holding hands here. And did you have any questions for the black and white one? Where they're being so cute. Because I think overall it's just really lovely. Like, really great characterization, really great, like, posing, vibes. Just so lovely. And I can only see it in black and white, but the contrast looks really great as well. Not really. I was just curious if you'd see anything I didn't, and you caught a few things. Awesome. Okay, and then the last one where she's okay. Okay. Currently rolling a 20 death save, so she's fine. Is this a friend or a foe?
She is okay. Friend or foe?
I wonder.
Big foe energy. No.
Oh, I feel so bad. I know she's okay, but I'm like, no. So yeah, you got the emotions there. I'm just heartbroken over Big Boy's expression. And I'm worried because there's a foe coming their way. But yeah, I love the posing. I think you've done a great job with like the weight of their bodies, if that makes sense. About to Manchi. No! No Manchi. Yeah, where it just from the pose, it really feels like he's like slogging through the water. I really like how you can see like the knee come up. I like how his neck is like hunched forward. Like I said before, I love the musclies. Yeah, just really great posing, really great movement and everything. You can see like the weight of her hanging in the water. Yeah, it's just really good. And then the movement of the foe coming to munch. He's so scary. Yeah, and I really like how you added the ripple effects to everything. It definitely like helps bring in that movement, but I really like how you've used it to like define the shapes and bring like movement through the composition. I think that's really nice. Let me see. Is there anything missing? I think it'll be defined better when you paint it. His hair does look very long here, but I think it's just an illusion because he just has like the little tuft on the top. I think it's just an illusion of the image that will be defined if you paint it, where it just looks like he has like a mane. I think what it is the cloth coming off the back where I'm like, oh, that's his hair. But I think that'll be defined once you paint it. Oh yeah, having more of her tail float, that would be really good. Yeah, because it probably would if it's like lighter. Seeing the long luscious hair loser. Yeah. I think it's just a result of it being in pencil. And I think one thing you could do to push the composition is possibly making the foe the is it a gator? Must be a gator because the nose is thicker. But anyways, the enemy coming, I'd almost make it bigger. Oh, the kitty's coughing. Oh, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but there's a little kitty having a coughing fit. Oh, poor girly. Right, but yeah, I'd make the enemy bigger. I think right now, compositionally, our big boy and our lizard girl, they're about the same size together as the enemy. Miku, I know, but Miku. Poor girly. Right, so they're... If you look at the size of them, they are very similar in, like, size and weight. I think if you maybe, like... You'd probably see a little less of the enemy. But if you made them a bit bigger and maybe pulled them a little closer to camera, I think that would help. As long as you keep this lovely like curve, because I think that really kind of brings the composition around and around. But yeah, I think that would help balance it so it's not as much like same size, same size. You could also shrink these two a smidgen, not too much, because I like where they sit in the composition. But I think that would help kind of balance it out a little bit. I want to see if I can get its jaw open too. Mid-munch, hard. Yeah, that is hard from this angle. Yeah, maybe if you brought them like really close to camera and we saw almost like this side of the face, like it was, if you had it so it's like coming in over here, like maybe the head's kind of turned to the side and like is gonna munch his leg, then you could maybe see like the top jaw, like of the mouth being open. Yeah. If the camera was on the other side, you could see the gator coming. That too, you could flip it. You could flip it so that the gator's coming on this side. I don't know. You'd have to see how that looks, because I like this as it is, just because the focus is like on the emotional aspect of like him reaching for her. But yeah. It's so good. I cry. To be fair, in this scene, there were 2 more gators behind them. That's true. You could have one like snapping in the distance. Oh, that would be bad. In like a really good way, you know? True. You could have like maybe one with its mouth open back here, and then you could maybe like just see another one coming up. Oh. Oh. And then they're kind of circled. Amp up the drama. Exactly. Ah. Thank goodness she's okay. Drama bomb. Exactly. Pow. Yeah. Did you have any other questions on this one? After breaking my heart. That's all, Chef. Thank you. I'll try moving the phone closer to the camera. Hell yes. Amp up the drama. Well, thank you for submitting. Alright, we have Mouth and Kuroe left. If either of you are here, speak now. My cat just straight up bit my heated blanket and yanked it off the bed. So rude. What the heck? Alright, Mouth. Mouth. Okay, so character design critique. He's based off Japanese traditional tattoos. He's for a VTuber model I'm rigging for my design degree application. Yo, that's cool. Okay, I see. I'm very curious about what will do the lip syncing and the eye movement. Is it the fish? Is the default from the side? Or is the fish facing us and then this is like a head turn? I'm curious. This is really cool. He will be cooked. I fell on top of him. He's under a heated blanket on the floor. Oh, he's cooking. Let him cook. Fish go. Oh. Yes. Okay. So, from a character design perspective, the colors work well together. I will say that. The orange plays really well with the teal, and the red does as well. So I think you've got some good stuff going on there. Oh my god, I love this look. Look at him. Look at this little man's. I don't know what creature he is, but I love him. Okay. I think... Okay, so I think there's some really good... what's the word?
Lear, don't bite her.
Lear!
She's biting her legs.
Lear! Stop! He just went after Amalthea and bit her legs. Cats, why are you being rude? Stop. Right, sorry. So I love... So what I'm thinking here is I feel like the mask up top and the tattoo sleeves work really well together. The biter returns. because like there's the color repetition with the red on the tattoo sleeves as well as in the mask. You've got some little yellow highlights as well. They're a bit more green here, but you still get the yellow coming through. And the teal works really well with the red. Now the teal and the orange work well together. I think though the orange kind of clashes with the red. There's something about it that is clashing a little bit. Like, it's not a contrast thing, because there's good contrast between the different elements. Now, it might be that it feels kind of sectioned. So it feels like there's the red section with the mask. There's this big orange section with the fish. And then there's this blue and red section down here with the shirt and the sleeves. And it just feels so, like, severed. There's not, like, the orange isn't brought through the mask and the shirt in the same way. Where it feels a little disjointed. I see you've brought, like, a little bit of the red in with, like, the tie for the mask, as well as, like, the gills on the fish. But I feel like maybe some blue needs to be brought in. Maybe you could do some, like, scaling. Like, maybe some blue scales or something. To maybe bring in some of the teal, maybe some more of the red. Yeah, it just feels pulled apart. Because of the fish. This might also, it might be helped once the colors are kind of like involved together a little bit more. But I feel like the neck is a little bit long. But I don't know. Changing the colors might fix like the balance of that. And it would be nice to see it in motion, because right now the head feels very disconnected from the body. And again, it might just be because the colors are so separated. But yeah, it feels like a fish stuck on a pole that's stuck in like a mannequin's body. Instead of like this person's neck is attached to their fish head. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, so maybe like making the neck a little shorter will help make it feel like a neck. And I think, again, it would help to see it animated, because I'm not quite sure how this will animate. Because if it is a VTuber model, like there's going to be movement in the turn of the head. The body might not have so much movement besides like maybe swaying. Whereas like the head and the elements on the head will definitely need movement. I was also curious if these ties, are they wrapped around the fish or are they just dangling off the mask? Because I feel like that could be, for animating it, that could be some interesting movement if they're just like tassels that are dangling. Because then you could have movement in here. And make them feel kind of 3D. I guess if they're moving, like if the fish moves back and forth, like they're turning their head, you could also see like 3D-ness if it's like a rope wrapped around the fish. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Yeah, and I think the other thing that's making things feel so like disconnected is there's so much detail in these tattoos and in the mask, and then the fish is very like plain. So maybe adding in some scaling, maybe adding like a tattoo motif onto the fish would also help. Just something to bring the detail levels together a little bit more. And same with on the shirt. I think the shirt might also be a little bit plain. It's helped that it's such like a different color from the rest of things. Where I think the blue kind of helps make it feel like its own thing. But you might want to bring in details onto it, like maybe a little logo, maybe a pattern. Up to you, or maybe some more layered clothing or something like that. But it just depends on what you want to do with the character. The concept is really cool. I love the hi, passing by, fishy looks nice. Thank you. But yeah, the concept is really, really cool. Bringing like Japanese style tattoos and turning them into a character. Especially such a unique character. Like, this is really fun and interesting. And I think there's lots of nice layering going on for when you do animate it. You can get some really interesting like overlap and movement. I also wonder, I'm thinking from an animation standpoint, so like possibly to make the animation easier for you, because if you are turning the head, like say you have the head moving back and forth, I'm not sure how detailed you're going with this model, because if it's just like mouth flaps, that's different, but like if you have the head turning, it might be easier, instead of having the mask in profile and at the top, possibly hanging it off the side and doing like a 3/4 view might be easier to animate if it needs to move back and forth. It could also help bring some of the detail like down onto the fish. Where it's being kind of worn as like a mask. Like if this is the front of the face, it's like a mask on the side of the face, but I think that's just up to preference. Yeah, so I think that's it. I think you need to add some more details. Things feel a little sparse on the shirt and on the fish. I think some of the blue and red need to be mixed into the middle of the character and the face a little bit more. Yeah, and the head feels a little disconnected from the body. So yeah, I think that's it. Mouse, if you have any questions about this, please let me know. I'm really curious about how this animates because it's such a cool character idea. It'd be so funny if only the mouth animation when the VTuber was talking, just the fish opening his mouth. That would be so cute. That would be really funny. It was just like bop, 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 bop. Yeah, so mouth, let me know. All right, I will move on to Kuroe. Kuroe? Chloe? Are you here? Are you here, my friend? I couldn't finish my things in time, so here's 3 characters for sacrifice. Oh no. I'm assuming these characters are for Forlorn Hope, which is your like spy military action thriller thingy / romance. Okay, so we have Lizzie Marinov, who is a prison guard. Okay. Okay. I love her hair. That's a really cute hairstyle. Okay, so she's a prison guard. I think she's from Forlorn Hope. The uniform and her coloring work really well. So you've got some good contrast between like the orange and the blue. Oh, I guess I should also give like a character vibe check. She looks like a deadpan character. Like you say anything to her and she'll just give you like a little straightforward look and just say something bluntly. Like she doesn't look like she smiles very much. She's very serious. Which I feel like could be used for comedy as well. Like she could say something really absurd but in like a deadpan and it's funny kind of thing, you know? But yeah, she looks like she takes no gruff from no billy goats. But yeah, the coloring really works. There's good contrast between like the blue of her uniform and the blue of her eyes, and then her orange hair. I would say that orange needs to be brought into other places. It is hard, because I'm assuming this is like a background character. Well, actually, I don't know. Like, I know she's not one of the main characters. Because I know who the main characters in that story are. So this might just be like a secondary background character. But, and she is in a uniform. And uniforms are hard because it can be difficult to bring personality into uniforms, especially something like a prison guard or a military uniform. But yeah, but it's definitely like her face has this shock of like the red hair, and then everything else is very like monotone, from like the black pants and shoes, and then the blue shirt, and like that's all we get. Belt buckle for more color, yeah, possibly like bringing in like a brown belt buckle or brown shoes. Again, that's hard because the uniform is probably like black pants, black shoes kind of thing. Yeah, because maybe if we could see like her socks and maybe they were red, or some accessories like a watch or a bracelet, a belt. The classic technique for the artist hand hiding. Hell yeah. Oh yeah, change the monogram on the shirt to a name tag with more color. That could also work. That could work to bring it into kind of like the torso area. Yeah, because I know you probably have more characters who wear these uniforms, so like you might have to do some work to get their coloring to like align with it. But you could do something like maybe adding like a stripe down the pant leg that's maybe orange or red to go with the hair color. Yeah, I'd play around with accessories to kind of get that color working. The other option would maybe to like make her hair more neutral, so you could go like maybe a kind of reddish brown, so it at least isn't so contrasty. Or you could do like black hair, brown hair, something like that to kind of bring it in line with the uniform. But it really depends on the role of the character, because if this is a background character, I would just make her colors blend in. But if she's a more like main character with more speaking roles who we want to be able to like remember, I would keep the red hair. The only other thing, this is a nitpick that I don't think you should follow because I think for a comic, especially because I think this has like some comedy elements in it and stuff, and it's a lot more like lax than, like, it's not super realism focused, but her hair being kind of in loose pigtails feels like a hazard if you're working in a prison. I'd be worried someone would grab her hair, where it probably would just be like up in a bun really tight or something, or cut really short. But don't take that if you're like, but that's boring and it doesn't fit the narrative of my comic, then that's totally fine. I also feel like with the shape of her bangs and her hair, like they're very like slender and like fluid, if that makes sense. Like you have some very like kind of elegant shapes in like her bangs with that nice little like long swoop, and then there's like a little bit of a twist in her hair ties. That's really missing from the rest of her. She feels very like square and squat in the rest of her shape. I'm wondering if you can bring, if you want to keep that part, maybe giving her more of like a willowy kind of like body shape, where maybe she has like a bit more curve to her. She maybe has some more kind of like elegant shapes in her, where right now she's very boxy. I think that would help. Or you need to bring in more kind of like clothing elements that have the same kind of like elegant swoop that's in her hair. Yeah, so I think that's all stuff to ponder. Kuroe, let me know if you have questions on this. Okay, the next one is Adam Vince? He's a trafficker. Oh no, I don't like that guy. Oh, he speaks lots of languages. Okay, I'm gonna assume he's in the prison, or he's breaking people out of prison. Because I know the scene you're working on is like in a prison. But anyways, this is a villain. This is a villainous man's. Okay. He looks scary. He looks muscular. Yeah, he looks tough and mean. And you go punch your head really hard. That's the vibe. His tattoos are really cool. I'm assuming that's a tattoo on his head and not a little curl of hair. Yeah, because he has the little tattoo under his eye as well. When will be the next critique? I may join. I need to work on character designs. Yeah, the next critique will be at the, so we do it at the end of every month. It's like the last Saturday of every month, provided there's not like a holiday or something. And then submitting to get a long form in. So our long form submissions are like comic scripts. I think it's like up to 40 pages of comics. Whether that's script or pencils or whatever. That's long form. So that's 2 weeks before the actual stream is when submissions close for that. And then up until the day before the actual stream, you can submit short form, we call it. But like character designs, it's like up to 3 images. So it could be 3 comic pages. It could be 3 character designs, 3 illustrations, 3 or less. It doesn't have to be 3. Yeah. I kind of remember the joining method going through Patreon or YouTube member. Yes. So yeah, if you join the Patreon, I think it's the $8 tier. If that's still the same, it should be the critique tier. And yeah, you can do that through Patreon or through YouTube. I think it's less expensive through Patreon. And then that should get you set up in our Discord, and that's where we take all our submissions for the critique. So I hope that makes sense. Jan, let me know if there's other questions. Alright, so this Adam character seems really mean. I get like Kratos vibes. It's probably just the line on the eye. But it looks like Kratos from God of War. Let me see. Right, so his colors make sense. He's pretty monotone. I'm assuming monotone? Monochromatic. I guess it's duo. Anyways, the colors are, yeah, they're all very, very similar. Again, this feels like a background character design just because like his colors don't stand out a whole bunch. The only thing that's really contrasted is that red line. I'm not sure if that's a scar or a tattoo. Whereas the rest of him aligns really nicely, where you've got like the black for the shirt, for the tattoos, for the shoes, and then you've got like a kind of, it's kind of yellow tinted brown. But anyways, yeah, a brown for the pants, for his facial hair, and then lightened version for his skin tone. And I think that worked for a background character. Like, he stands out enough to, like, you'd remember him if he's showing up in a scene, but he's not, like, super bright and vibrant and, like, stealing attention, if he's not a main character. I think the red could be brought in more. Again, it's just like the only highlight is on his face. I think you could do that pretty easily by either bringing in some red into his tattoo designs, maybe adding in some accessories, like, or, you know, shoelaces, not keychains, but, you know, like, I don't know, something clipped onto his belt or his pants, maybe a stripe on the pants, jewelry, a watch, bracelet, patterning on the clothing. I think, yeah, the red just needs to be brought through the design a little bit more. I'm on the fence contrast-wise, because I think there's good contrast throughout. There could be a bit more contrast between, like, because the tattoos on his torso and arms are so dense, they do blend in with the black tank top a little bit. So you could mess around with, like, maybe using a lighter color for the tank top, or don't. I think, again, if this is like a background character, I think this is totally fine. I think it still works. But if you wanted him to stand out, I'd bring in more red. You could even make the tank top red, or like have a big red pattern on it or something, just to make it stand out against the tattoos a little bit. You could even use just like a white tank top. I think that would stand out really well against the rest of his design. But yeah, I think his shapes work really well. He's got a lot of kind of round shapes and swirls, but he's also like very boxy. But I like how, like, there's kind of roundness to his muscles, like his thighs have a bit of roundness to show like how bulky he is, same with like his shoulders. He's obviously got like the roundness to his head because he's bald. And there's these round motifs in the tattoos and stuff. It could be brought into the patterns on the pants and shirt, some of these circle-y kind of ideas. Maybe that's how you bring the red in. I'm not sure. That's just something to think about. Kuroe, let me know if you have questions about this one. And then we have Vinicio Medved.
He's a trafficker. Bad boy. Get out of here.
Okay, so he's got these swirly tattoos as well. And again, the palette seems very limited. This again feels like maybe a more background character who's still memorable. I do like how subdued he is. Where you've got like the kind of sagey green for like the shirt and his eyes, and then everything else is like black, with the exception of his skin, which is like a very neutral brown on the lighter shade. So I think there's pretty good contrast. You could bring some color into the shoes. Like, honestly, I think that would be a really good way to kind of balance the green, is maybe bringing in like a spot of this like sagey green into the shoes, whether that's like, you know, some striping, or the laces, or the soles of the shoes. It doesn't even have to be like a big section of it, but I think that would kind of help with breaking up the different parts of the character just a little bit. Because then you have the green in the face, through the torso, and then you'd have it in the shoes. And I think that would balance really well. Yeah, he's got kind of a triangular shape to him, which is kind of hinted at in like the shapes between his like tattoos. Like there's this swirl in them. But yeah, but you can see it in like the points of his hair. He's got like a very triangular shaped torso. There's kind of triangle in his like muscle shapes in his legs, his shoes. Yeah, because it's kind of squared off. Some places there's a little bit of like a swoop that kind of mimics like the swirls in his tattoos. So I think it works well. Again, I think this is like a very good background character. If he's a more main character, I'd kind of bring in more color, more contrast, and more details. But for like a background kind of villainous character, I think this works well, where he's still memorable. The tattoos are cool. They're neat. Oh, and character vibes, he feels like the more kind of cunning one. like, he does have a very neutral expression here, but he feels like he's gonna be like sassy, and he has quips. He's maybe like the more agile one. See, in my head, he works with Adam. They're like working together. Or he's like the more agile, kind of quippy one, and he's like the intimidating muscle guy. So that's my vibe for these characters. Yeah, his colors really work. His shapes really work. I think you just got to bring the green in. Kuroe, when you see this, please let me know if you have any questions. But otherwise, we are done. Battle box. You submitted on time, but I was silly and didn't read your stuff on time, so I don't have access to it right now. But if you give me access on your Google Drive, I can send you a message on Discord. Because, yeah, you shouldn't be penalized. You send it in on time. I just didn't open it in time. Let me know about that. Yeah. Thank you all for joining. I guess I'm out of here. Like I was telling Yan earlier, if you would like to join the critique stream next month, we do it every month at the end of the month, last Saturday. If you would like to join, you can join through our Patreon or through becoming a YouTube member. It is a little less expensive on Patreon because YouTube takes a big cut. But yeah, consider. You can join the Discord. We have Discord chats that we do with like our Patreon YouTube members as well. You get access to the critique stuff. And you can submit all kinds of stuff for critique. You can do pieces for novels, short stories, comic pages in like any form. You know, we can look at thumbnails, sketches, script pages, fully finished pages. We could look at character designs, setting designs, illustrations, sketches. There's so much we can look at. So yeah, please consider signing up if that sounds like something you'd be interested in. But otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And we'll see you on Tuesday for our next stream. Goodbye.